How are you?
I'm doing really well. This is
Good.
awesome. Here we are, and we're together.
It's a miracle.
It's very- usually we're completely separate, and you're in Austin, and usually I'm in Las Vegas. So this is really cool. Lucky and Leslie get to be together.
Yep, that's
Lucky
fun.
and Leslie.
So,
Yeah, this is cool. So we are sitting here in Colorado. We are just south of Denver, and we're at Dev 2 next. Leslie
and
speaking
Dev to
today.
Next is a great conference. One of the things about it is it's so full of variety.
Yeah.
There's lots of different topics, but it's a wonderful conference. So we've been enjoying it. I'm speaking today, as Christina said, I'm speaking about innovation and how
Yeah.
you can grow your innovation to the top
Mm-hmm.
or not.
Right. No, you're speaking at 3 o'clock today, and it's going to be really good. I feel like the audience has been really great moving
Yeah, the
here, right?
audiences have been
I
great.
feel like the quality of the talks have been very high level, right?
Hmm.
But also there are a lot of intricacies in some of them. So they're using case studies, right?
Hmm.
And actually applicable case studies so that you can apply them and you can see what worked and what didn't, as opposed to just general topics. So I really like that about the conference. The committee did a terrific job curating
Yeah,
topics.
and you were
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
that committee.
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah, I was. Although I didn't have a whole lot of input on the technical topics,
Mm.
obviously, right? And then, sure. So it's really great to be here. We are in Colorado. I'm calling it hashtag VenkatConf, right? Because it's Venkat Subramaniam's conference. So Dev 2 Next is the first inaugural event here. It was supposed to happen before COVID. It was March.
Right.
It was a
It got
lockdown.
canceled for
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was really nice. Venkat was really sweet because he said, "I've been waiting 4 years for this talk. We planned it, and we were so close, and then it was canceled." And he said, "I'm so glad that you were able to come because." He told me, I don't care what you're going to talk about. Just, I want you to come. I'm doing a conference." And so that was
That's
really
really
cool.
nice.
That's really
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. So today we are talking about sticking with problems,
Yeah.
right?
Hanging on and working it until you find the solution and doing a good job of it. Now, you had a quote from Einstein.
Yeah, I had a quote from Einstein that kind of sparked this. It's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer. And so, in that he's arguing that humans, they need to trust the process. They need to have a little bit more patience, or what I would call emotional resilience in
Yeah.
being able to solve our problems. What do you think about that? I definitely have a piece of me where, if it's the right emotional trigger, that it's triggering a fear or something that I have, I will completely collapse into it, right?
Mm.
Oh, not again. Why this, right?
Hmm.
Or I'll just lose my patience. So what are some things that you did when you're managing somebody who might be a prima donna, or somebody who might be really attached to their work, and they want it to be this way, and it's not that way, so then they just give up? What are some things that you've
Hmm.
used to help encourage people to stick with it?
One of the things that's useful is to have them talk to other people about about the
Yeah, yeah,
problem or the
yeah, yeah.
project that they're trying to
It's not
solve.
always easy though in tech.
Yeah,
People
especially
don't want to ask for
especially
help.
with prima donnas, they think they know everything. So getting people to um, let someone else be a sounding board
Mm,
and listen to the problem, and maybe they will see it. Now, I did have one situation where the two people who shared an office were so different,
mm,
and when one would hit a problem
yeah.
that they couldn't figure out and they started to get frustrated, they would turn to the other and get the other's insight, and that
Ah,
would unlock. And I
because they knew it would be a different perspective.
totally different.
Yeah.
One was the coding cowboy, and one was the person who had to read everything and understand everything
Mm,
before she got started. and the the result was fantastic
Mm,
because when she would be stuck, which was rare because she really understood the whole thing before she
sure.
even got started, but when she would be stuck, she would turn to him and he'd just start pounding away
Oh yeah.
until he hit something and broke that blockade.
Yeah.
And when he was stuck, finishing, trying every which way to solve a problem, he would turn to her and describe it, and she'd sort of think about it, and then she'd tell him exactly what to do. And it was such
Mm,
a great lesson to me
yeah.
to see the wonderful power of diversity, of diverse problem solving
Right.
approaches. And they came from very different backgrounds, and they each had their own method.
Yeah.
And so that was the best
Mm-hmm.
experience for learning how differences can get you to problem solving approaches. And the prima donna, the serious prima donna that I worked with, uh, his software development approach
Mm-hmm.
was so different from mine. And
Mm,
I would look at his code, and it was, a lot of recursion, and mine was pretty straightforward, no recursion or little. Um, but I'd have a hard time reading his code.
ah, because it was a different style.
He had a different brain, our brains worked in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we could help each other if he would be
Yeah.
willing to let someone else help him.
Right.
But it
So
was
the
different.
willingness.
Yeah,
The
willingness.
willingness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said in my keynote yesterday, I have a friend. She calls it the curse of competency. Right.
Mm.
So if you're a competent person, you want to jump in and just get things done and just do stuff.
Right.
But that's not always the best approach
Yeah.
to just jump in and do things. And
Mhm.
B, it in the past for me, it led to overcommitting. It led to
Mm.
then I get in over my
Yes.
head
Yes.
and I don't want to ask for help. And it becomes this battle of, asking for help is weakness, or
Yeah.
if somebody's going to give me a different approach. That's why I like that story about the pair that co-work together, even though they're wildly different in their approaches,
Mhm.
because the key piece in that is that they were both willing to accept the input from the other
Yes.
person.
Yeah, they
That's
had
the magic there.
respect,
Right.
respect from the other, and it's not like they were friends,
Right.
but they respected each other's ability to solve problems.
Yeah.
And I think that happened to come from the fact that they both went to the same graduate school.
Oh, okay.
But
Sure.
they didn't really know each other in
Mhm.
graduate, but they had that, they had a little common background,
Yeah.
and I think that always helps. But you mentioned that you were reluctant to
Uh-huh.
ask for help, or
Mhm.
somehow that jogged in my mind the story of a little boy wanting to help his dad rake the lawn.
Oh, okay.
And when the little boy is 4 years old or even younger,
Sure.
it's going to take a whole lot longer to rake
Yeah. Right. Especially if he's playing in the leaves on the way.
Right. And he's just got little hands, and he can't rake very well, and he doesn't even know how to do it.
Right.
But
Right.
if you are patient
Mm.
and allow that time to be spent,
Mhm.
you save time in the long term, because
Mm.
now you have someone else who can help you
That's right. Long
with
term.
this task. So you just have to look at this from a long-term perspective and
Yeah.
say, oh, if I teach this other person how to solve these problems,
Yeah.
we
We all grow together, in fact.
yes, it
Yeah.
lifts everybody up.
Yeah.
And so the problems then are lighter for everybody.
Right. As they come, then other people are understanding them. And when they come up again, they can go, oh, yeah, I remember this. This is what we did. This is how. And then together you're solving those.
Yeah.
Also, I'm the emotional resilience woman. So I like to talk about the resilience that comes from that. So if we're using tools, communication tools, if we're using tools that are going to help us improve our process, tracking tools, stuff like that, that all of those tools help us build that emotional resilience as we're
Mhm.
creating ways to solve those problems and hang in there for a little bit
Mhm.
longer instead of giving up so quickly. Um, a lot of times too, that's cultural at work though. I mean, I've been
Mhm.
in the workplace before where they're like, come on, let's go. We got to get this done. Oh, that's good enough. That's good enough. Right.
Mhm.
Let's just get it out the door.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to make those choices, but it's not always like if we're crunched, I understand. Maybe we have very specific parameters, and you know what, at this point 90% is good enough. Let's push it out the door. We'll fix it after, right? Those we additional web pages we can add after it's added in
Yes. And
production, push to production.
that works for some
Some
things,
things it works
not for
for.
everything.
Yeah.
But
And so I think the wisdom is when to know the difference. You can
Mhm.
now discern that because you've hung in there for long enough that you know the outcome.
Mhm.
And you know it's interesting too because my Jay will chew on something and chew on something and really just sit with it. You can even tell, right? If there's a problem, and I'll be, babe, why don't you call somebody, or why don't, he's like, not quite ready yet. Like I just need to get the whole picture yet before we move forward. And then he'll go, okay, I think this is what we have. This is what we have. I got a handle on this, but what do you think? And
Mhm.
sometimes what you said earlier, it reminded me, sometimes when you bring that help in and you're talking to the rest of the team, it is just a small little, there could be a small little fulcrum that you're not
Mm.
considering that'll be the lever that actually just flips it over,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good. But if the culture is such that you're constantly being pressured to push, that's a different story.
And
That's a
that's a
different story.
story that comes with risks. Um, I mean, I certainly think about the CrowdStrike
Mm,
incident
yeah.
recently
Yeah.
as something that was released too quickly,
Hmm.
maybe pushed for good reasons, good market reasons, good customer support reasons, but didn't quite get the testing
Yeah.
and thorough work that it needed before it was pushed out.
Right. Right.
Um, I mean, we've seen this happen multiple times that people go and release something too soon and or at the wrong time, and
Mm.
it can lead to pretty big disasters.
Have you ever had to pull something down completely because it got it got pushed too soon, it got released too soon, and it was like, oh, never mind, roll it all back, roll it all back, abort, abort.
I have a lot of experience in the software development world, commercial software, during the time that once you released something,
Yeah.
you did not have the option to do updates in
Ah,
place. That would
right.
mean a whole new release, a patch release.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so it
yeah.
was a different time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think about all the things that have been set free or set in motion
Mm-hmm.
with a little bit of lack of thorough
Mm,
readiness.
yes,
And of course, I think of the Challenger disaster
yes.
and how that could have been resolved. And if there had been a willingness to wait until the temperatures warmed
Mm,
up,
mm-hmm.
uh, that those lives would have been spared.
Yeah.
And that's an indication of trusting the team to to be able to recognize when someone's maybe seeming to be crying wolf,
Mm,
that they're not crying wolf.
right.
You have to see when that happens. So
Yeah.
if the engineer is saying no, it can't go right now, it's not ready. But if the engineer says that every day
Yes.
for every
Right.
product, then
Then
there's a loss of trust
right.
because you can't say
Makes
something.
sense.
You have to pick your battles, and whining about something every day
Right.
is going to lead to you to have less authority
Right.
when you really need it. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I don't know what the exact situation was there, but I do know that in many cases,
Mhm.
people will say, "Oh, this is not ready yet, not ready. We can't release it."
Uh-huh.
Uh, but at some point, they get overridden.
Yeah, the decision is made anyway.
Yeah.
The
So
decision is made anyway. Well, and a lot of times when I was younger, I had the opposite kind of issue where it was like I had at one point one of my friends said she put her hand on my arm and she said I was complaining, and this and that, and they're not doing this and that, and she put her hand on my arm and she said, "Well, is there anyone else who might be able to do it, darling?" And I said, "Well, I mean, there might be one or two other people I could ask or help." She said, "I'd just like you to get some of this stuff off your plate. It seems like you're really busy." And I was like kind of grumbly. And here's what she said. She said, "Is it okay if they do it not as well as you?" That was it. That was the thing, is I was trying to control the process, and I was trying to make it be done how I wanted it to be
right.
done. Only that's the only way it can be done.
And that's
Nobody
where I
else can
think
do it.
about the little boy raking. Is it
Yeah.
okay
Yeah.
if he does it not as well as you? And if
Right.
you have the patience, and we started with patience.
Yes.
If you have the patience
Yeah.
to let that happen, then pretty soon he's going to be able to do it better than you.
Right.
Because he's younger and
Right.
stronger when he's 15.
Yeah. Well, I think probably in the developer world, that's also probably an issue too. People don't want somebody else coming up to do it better than you,
Right.
especially with how fast tech changes.
But when people are resistant to wanting someone else to learn to do it better than you,
Yeah.
that has the effect of reducing the opportunity for you to move on.
Yes.
Because what you want is to be able to move your career forward.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for you to do that, you have to leave some stuff behind, and you have to trust the people
Yeah.
who you're leaving it to, that they will do
Yes.
hopefully a better job than you.
Yeah.
So you have, that willingness to bring others into the problem solving arena
Right.
has a lot of ramifications. And one of them is teaching others to do the job so that you can take your
Yeah.
career on to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was working for Compaq at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and there were two guys. One was pretty junior and the other was very senior. And they would sit together and work on a problem. And one guy might be typing and doing something. The younger guy was always learning from watching how
Right.
the older guy did it. And I
Right.
think this is I think there are so many benefits to work from home.
Mm-hmm.
And there are also benefits to return to office. But one of the benefits of return to office is
Yeah.
the opportunity for me to be typing away on the keyboard and you to say, "Well, what did you just do there?"
Right.
And learn a new trick,
Right.
learn a new approach
Uh-huh.
to problem solving. And so,
Right, because if your mind doesn't think that way, then it wouldn't even occur to you
right.
to
Plus,
approach it.
you learn it one way, it
Uh-huh.
works. So you're fine.
Right.
Right. Okay, good to go.
Right.
You know, that way works.
Yeah. Right.
But if you see somebody else doing it differently, then you are there.
Yeah.
You're there to learn. Okay, there's another way to do this, and that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
And so people can learn from each other, whether one's senior and one's junior. People have different ways
Yeah.
of going about problem solving.
Yeah.
But it's so fun to watch that interaction
Mm-hmm.
and that the light bulbs sort of going off when two people are sitting next to each other solving a problem.
Right. Right. Oh, look, hey, there's a chat. Awesome. Hi, Ruth. I love this concept of making it better. I do this in the season of my life. Yeah, know the difference. Yeah. Ruth is excellent PR person. If anybody needs to have some help and some public relations, go talk to Ruth. The thing about the circumstance, it reminds me what you were just talking about. We do one of those scenarios in our role play, in our workshop,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Where you have a subordinate and then you have a supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
and then we do it as improv. With improv, you have to have a relationship, you've got to have a location, and you've got to have two objectives. And so we do these, and we do these.
Much fun.
Yeah. We do these, and what we do is we will go on and practice and role play what these scenarios are. And one of them was subordinate. I feel like the subordinate wanted to change the project, and the manager knew that the project was being canceled or something, but they both didn't know each other's objective.
Right. The manager actually knew that there was so much pressure to get it out the door, and the subordinate wanted to maybe add a feature or something. And so the important thing for the subordinate to figure out was to figure out what the manager cared about.
Yeah.
And so once you understand your audience's concerns and pressures, maybe the manager's getting pressured to get it out the door, or it's going to be shut down.
Right.
The manager's really on edge to get this thing out the door.
Yeah.
It certainly doesn't want to add any new features.
Right.
So if the subordinate is aware of that, then they can couch the conversation in terms of that.
Yeah.
Saying something like, I know you're concerned that we deliver this product on time, and I would like to propose that we add a feature that will not delay the product, but will in fact make it better. And we have every reason to believe that we can get it done in time.
Yeah.
So I'm couching it in terms that you care about. You care about delivering it. So I'm not just saying, hey, we have this really cool idea for a new feature and people are going to love it.
Right. Because I'm like, no, I just need to get this out of the door.
Right.
Let's not, there's no time for creativity here. We're not improvising. We're not.
So I'm just saying, you care about this. I think we could do this and still meet your objectives.
Right.
So that's the that's the training there, is to learn to pay attention, to what the other person cares about. And sometimes that means doing some research.
Yeah.
I know when I haven't met somebody and I'm going to have a meeting with them, if I can find something like articles they've written or posts they've made, whatever, I can figure out what they care about.
Yes.
What is it that is uppermost in their mind? Are they always talking about climate change? Are they always talking about justice? Are they always talking about equity? What is it that their posts lead you to think they're concerned about? Or
it really gives you insight into their core values and to the principles behind them and how they work, how they live out those core values, right?
Yes. And then the really cool thing is your creative opportunity to look at the Venn diagram here, your interests, my interests, and where is that magic overlap? Where is it that I can say, you care about climate change. I have this idea that will improve the level of carbon release, and we could work together to make this happen.
Right.
And so I'm addressing your need first. Always address the other person's concern and interest first, and then show how, and that's the intersection, which is the creative opportunity for you. It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun to work with somebody and say, okay, here's their interest.
Yeah.
Here's your interest. Where's the overlap? And
Yeah.
what kind of fun thing can we come up with? It doesn't have to be fun, but what
Well,
kind
that's how it was with you and me. We met right away, right? We met in Austin, and it was like, hey, you like leadership? You like improv stuff? Because you were telling me about your
Yeah.
workshop that you were doing, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. That sounds like emotional intelligence. This is how I. And then we're like, whoa, we should put a workshop together.
Yeah.
And so now we've taught it in a few different places all around the
Yeah.
country, and we, of course, we do our online version, and
Yes.
that is the second Friday of every month. And you can go to luckyandleslie.com to get the tickets for that. It's only $27. It's the second Friday of every month. So join us. It's on Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
we
really
always
fun.
have fun.
We always have fun.
And you'll always learn something, and your skills will improve, and you'll be a better leader.
What's so cool about it is because every time there's different people.
Yeah.
So no matter how we run the workshop and the scenarios, the energy of the people is different, and the solutions and the way that we mentor each other on those solutions
Mhm.
is always different. So
And every time
That's
we
cool.
have a different scenario.
Yeah.
So one scenario might be about negotiations, and one scenario might be about communication, and one scenario might be about risk management or
Mhm.
tolerance.
Yeah.
One scenario might be about ethics.
Yep.
Is this the ethical thing to do? What if everybody did this? You know,
Yeah.
how would the world be then?
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
what if everybody lied? You wouldn't be able to tell. You wouldn't be able to make decisions because
Right.
you wouldn't be able to discern the facts.
Right. You'd be
Um,
misinformed.
You know, if I'm a frequent liar and I offer you an apple and some tea, yikes! You don't know whether to take that. You know, I might be the the bad princess in a Grimm's fairy tale.
That's right.
Might be poisoning you or slipping a razor in that apple. You don't know. And so
Right.
when people, you know, the lying is just one ethical component, but if everybody lies, then your ability to produce goes way down. You
Mhm.
can't function because
Right.
you can't evaluate what the situation is
Right.
with any confidence.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
ethics is kind of fun to look at the various situations and say, well, what if I do this, will I be able to sleep at night?
Yeah.
Or what's the greatest good for the greatest number?
Mm.
That's a utilitarian version, and thinking through that. Sometimes those things come up.
I just took an ethics exam. In fact, I just took
Oh,
it because
good.
I have to take, I'm getting a massage license. And so a part of that is there's an ethics class that you have to take.
Mhm.
And so that's what I did. Awesome. Well, hey, listen, this has been really cool. This is like
Fun to
in
be
person.
together.
Let's
Yeah.
do some more in person. This is really
We'll
cool.
have to
It's good
arrange to
see
be in
you.
the same town.
I know. Next time we do a workshop. When you came to Vegas, we should have done it too. We didn't even think about that.
Well, I don't think it was a
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't a Wednesday when we did our workshop in Las Vegas last one.
But
Okay.
we'll figure that out.
Yeah, we will. We will. Awesome. In the meantime, everyone, you can check us out on luckyandleslie.com. If you sign up for free on our account, you can download some videos of our workshops. You can download, there are other resources, a couple of ebooks. There are some talks and some papers. There are even some jokes, some work safe jokes, safe for work jokes that Leslie is.
I'm really good at nerd jokes.
so that you could go download those for free too. We don't spam you. I mean, gosh, we haven't even sent a newsletter yet. It's funny because we collect these emails, and maybe we should send a newsletter. Maybe it'll be like a hi once a year thing or something, but we're not going to spam you. So go ahead and download. We just want to make sure all those resources were available for everybody. So you can go to luckyandleslie.com, and you can also sign up. We have our workshop on the second Friday of every month. It is at 10 o'clock Pacific and noon Central, and you can go get your tickets, $27, and we'll see you there. Awesome.
Okay.
All right. I guess I'll see you separately next week.
I may be in transit to Dallas where I'm giving a talk, so I have to check my calendar.
Yeah, we can always even change the time.
Okay. That would probably work.
Maybe we'll change the time.
I'll have to check my calendar.
Yeah, and have fun in Dallas, man.
Yeah, I haven't been to Dallas for a long time except to land in the airport.
Yeah, me neither. I haven't been to Dallas in a while. I did used to watch that show when I was a little kid. What was it? It was like there was J.R. Ewing, the one
Yes,
with J.R.
that's
Ewing.
right.
That's what I remember when I was a kid.
Dallas looks a lot different now.
Facts. That was like 40 years ago for
Yeah.
sure. Awesome. All right. Well, have a great day, everybody, and we will see you later.
Bye bye.